Mia had always loved trains. There was something comforting about the steady hum of the engine, the gentle rocking as the train moved along the tracks. But tonight, things felt different. It was nearly midnight, and she stood alone on the empty platform, waiting for a train that no one else seemed to know about. She had been visiting a friend in a nearby town and lost track of time. By the time she reached the station, the last train was supposed to have left hours ago. Yet the station clerk had told her in a strange, quiet voice that another train would arrive at midnight. It was not on the schedule, but the clerk insisted it would come. Just wait, you will see, the clerk had said, giving her a strange look before disappearing behind his desk. Now, as the clock neared midnight, Mia began to feel uneasy. The platform was silent, not a soul in sight, and the surrounding darkness seemed to press in on her. She checked her phone, no signal. The lights on the platform flickered, casting long shadows across the ground. Then she heard it, a distant whistle, followed by the low rumble of a train approaching. Mia felt a wave of relief. She was not going to be stuck here all night after all. The train pulled into the station, and Mia noticed something strange. It looked old, far older than any train she had ever seen. The cars were made of dark, weathered wood, and the windows were dusty and clouded. The engine hissed and groaned like it had been running for far too long. But Mia did not have much choice, so she stepped forward and boarded the train. Inside the train was eerily quiet. The seats were covered in faded velvet and the walls were lined with dark wood panels. Mia walked down the aisle looking for the other passengers, but the train seemed completely empty. She chose a seat near the windows, setting her bag beside her, and tried to relax. As the train began to move, Mia noticed something odd. There were no lights outside, no street lamps, no building, not even the faint glow of distant town. It was as if the train was moving through a thick, endless fog. The windows were so dark that Mia could not see anything beyond the glass. A sense of unease crept over her. She pulled her phone from her pocket to check the time. 12:15 a.m. Still no signal. She looked around the train again, hoping to find someone she could ask where the train was headed, but the cars were as silent as before. Mia started to feel nervous. She stood up and made her way to the front of the car, where a door led to the next one. Maybe there was a conductor or another passenger in other cars. As she opened the door and stepped into the next car, she froze. The car was filled with people, passengers sitting silently in their seats, but something was wrong. Their clothes were old, like something from decades ago, and their skin was pale, almost grey. No one was moving and no one was speaking. It was as if they were frozen in time. Mia's heart raced. She stepped closer to one of the passengers, a woman in a faded dress with her head turned slightly toward the window. Her eyes were open, but they were glassy and lifeless. Hello, Mia whispered, her voice trembling. Can you hear me? The woman did not respond. Mia waved her hand in front of the woman's face, but there was no reaction. She backed away, her breath quaking. Suddenly, a soft voice came from behind her. You should not be here. Mia spun around. A young man stood in the aisle, his face pale like the others, but his eyes were sharp and focused. He was dressed in old-fashioned clothes, a suit that looked like it belonged to another time. What do you mean? Mia stammered. The man's eye flickered with something like pity. This train? It's not for the living. Mia's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? Where is this train going? The man glanced at the passengers, then back at Mia. They are all dead. They don't know it, but they are. And this train is taking them to their final destination. You don't belong here? Mia shook her head, her mind racing. No, that's impossible. I am alive. I got on this train from the station. I was told it was the last one for the night. The man stepped closer, his voice lowering. You should not have gotten on. The midnight train is for those who are ready to move on, but you are not one of them. Mia felt a chill creep down her spine. She had to get off this train. How do I get out of here? The man looked at her with a sad expression. There is only one way. You have to find the conductor and ask him to stop the train. But be careful. He is not like the others. Mia nodded, fear twisting in her chest. She thanked the man and hurried toward the front of the train, her footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. As she passed through the cars, she could not help but glance at the frozen passengers, their lifeless faces staring straight ahead. Finally, she reached the front car. The door of the door to the conductor's cabin loomed before her. Old and worn, Mia took a deep breath and knocked. The door creaked open slowly and Mia stepped inside. The conductor was sitting at the controls, his back to her. He was tall, with broad shoulders, dressed in a black uniform. His head turned slightly and Mia caught a glimpse of his face, pale with hollow eyes that gleamed in the darkness. You should not be here? The conductor rasped, his voice cold and hollow. Mia's hands trembled, but she forced herself to speak. I need to get off this train. I am not supposed to be here. The conductor's lips curled into a twisted smile. Once you are on the midnight train, there is no getting off. Mia's heart pounded. Please, she begged. I did not know I am still alive. The conductor's smile faded, and for a long moment he stared at her. Then slowly he turned back to the controls. Very well, he said, his voice low and menacing. But remember this, you can only escape once. Mia did not wait for him to change his mind. She ran back through the cars, her feet moving faster with every step. As she reached the door to the first car, she felt the train lurch to a stop. The doors slid open, and Mia jumped onto the platform, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She looked back, but the train had vanished, leaving nothing but silence and darkness. Mia stood alone, her heart still racing, and wondered if she had truly escaped the midnight train, or if it would come for her again.